today I am going to deliver a presentation and discussions on the two topics. These two topics are different from each other. It is no relevance to each other. The first topic is regarding the provision of the regulation 3320B, and the second topic is regarding 3326. These two topics, these two regulations are recently included by the government in the existing regulation which is sanctioned by the government in 2018, which is called as DCR 2034. So let us start about the first topic. Remote. Where is the remote? Yeah. Okay. So I will talk much more about the non-technical topic because many of the members of the societies are here. So I will not go into the details regarding the technical aspects more, but on the brief introduction about this regulation. So what is the meaning of 3320B? So the regulation says it is the development of AH/RR. What is AH? Affordable housing and or rehabilitation and resettlement, that on a private plot. So before going into the understanding of this regulation 3320B, what is this regulation 3320B? So before going into that regulation, first of all, we should get the understanding regarding the FSI potential, what is available on the plot. So how much FSI potential will be available on your any of the plot in Mumbai, either in the city or suburb, that is mentioned in regulation 30 of DCR 2034, which is in table 12. So what this table 12 mentioned, that in any of the plot in city or suburb, there are two different tables, either in the city and suburb, the potential of the plot is divided into three parts. One is the basic zonal FSI, second is the premium FSI allowable on that plot, and third is the TDR component that can be loaded on that plot. So out of that, the zonal FSI permissible is fixed. In city area it is 1.33 and in suburb area it is 1. Then the premium FSI is 0.5 in suburb areas, and city areas it depends variable. And again the third component TDR, that is variable depending upon the road width of the access road to the plot. So if you see in the table, if the plot is accessible through the road less than 9 meter, then only zonal FSI is permissible. No premium FSI, no TDR is permissible on the plot. And thereafter, depending upon the width of the road, the FSI potential differs, and if more is the road width available to the plot, then higher will be the FSI permissible. So accordingly, if you see in this table, in the city area, the FSI is varying from 1.33 to 3. So that depends upon the road width. Now, this is in the suburb. So in suburb, what I said, that the zonal permissible FSI is 1, and then thereafter, depending upon the road width, the FSI goes up to 2.5. Now, in any redevelopment project or development project, while working out the feasibility and many factors that we have to take into account, what is the FSI permissible on the particular plot, and that depends upon the road width accessible to the plot. Apart from that, the zonal permissible FSI is available free of cost. It doesn't involve any cost, but premium FSI, whatever permissible, that has to be purchased from the government on payment at the rate what is mentioned in the regulation, and TDR, that has to be purchased and load on that plot by purchasing from the market. Now, in many cases, whatever be the permissible FSI. Now, what we seen that in the city, the maximum permissible FSI depending upon the road width is 3, and in the suburb it is 2.5. But in many cases, due to various factors and various combinations, the FSI permissible is not adequate for the development. That is what we called as a feasibility. So sometimes the redevelopment of the project is not feasible within the permissible FSI. So in that case, what is the other options? There are many regulations which allows and which can be allowed for higher FSI. Out of that, there is one regulation which is recently added by the government, which is called as a 3320B. Now, what is 3320B? So, 3320B, what regulation is that in that case, higher FSI will be allowed beyond the permissible FSI what we now see. But in that case, there will be sharing of the FSI. Some of the area has to be handed over to the PMC in the form of tenements, which will be used for the affordable housing tenements or that PAP tenements. And as against that, the developer or the society will get the incentive areas proportionately. So what that exactly is? So these are the basic requirements, that should be a private plot, there should not be any reservation, and that minimum road width should be 12 meters. So these are some benefits which are of more or technical nature. Then, this is the FSI permissibility in this 3320B. So here you can see that if the road width is 12 meter, in that case you can go up to the FSI of 3, and if the road width is more than 18 meter, then you can go up to the FSI of 4. So higher FSI is available in this case beyond the regulation 30 mentioned in the table 12. So out of that higher FSI, that FSI is to be distributed by some of the built up area. That is, in the first case 63%, that has to be used for the PAP, and 37% you will get to the developer. Similarly, in suburb it is 50-50. So this 50% area or 37% area, that additional FSI will be available on this plot. So by the way, by getting into the benefit of this regulation, the FSI potential of the plot will be increased by something, and due to the increasing of the FSI on the plot, the feasibility, there will be more feasible feasibility of the project for either development or the redevelopment. So these are the what we said, what we get for the BMC and the developer. Then these are the basic requirements. These are the some parameters which are there in the scheme. That in this case, normally what we say is that in regulation 30, table 12, what is FSI? Whatever the FSI is permissible is on the net plot area. But as far as 3320B is concerned, the FSI permissible is on the gross plot area. What is the difference? So suppose the plot is affected by the widening of the road, then you have to surrender certain area of the road for certain land of the plot for the road widening. So suppose you are having a plot area of 2000 square meter and it is affected by the road widening for 200 square meter, then the net plot area will be 1800 square meter. So whatever the FSI permissible will be on the 1800 square meter, not on the 2000 square meter. You will get the compensation in the form of TDR for that 200 square meter which is affected by the road widening. But FSI potential, whatever be the either 1, 2, 3, whatever it may, that will be on the net plot area. But what this 3320B says, that this FSI 3 or 4, what we see in the last table, that is available on the gross plot area, means including the area which you are going to hand over for the road widening. Then Now, there is one probable questions or confusions in the mind of the society people, particularly that since this regulation increased the FSI, but out of that increased FSI, some part of the built-up area is to be handed over to the BMC for the purpose of allotting that tenements to the PAPs or for the purpose of affordable housing. So who will be that peoples? They may be the project affected persons, uh, because BMC has taken lot of infrastructure projects for widening of the roads or other infrastructure projects. So they need a lot of PAP tenements. So these tenements will be used for allotting the tenements to such peoples. So you may have a confusion that these peoples which are project affected persons will be allotted to the flats in your building, and that may be the part of your society in the future, but it need not be. It need not be, because that regulation says if you don't want to allot these peoples of PAP tenements in your building or in your society, then you have a choice. So there are two options. The first option is that PAP tenements, whatever has to be handed over to BMC, you can give it in other buildings. You can give it in the other buildings. Suppose you have to surrender 5 flats to the BMC for the PAP tenement. So simple way, the developer or the society who are getting the benefit of this 3320B provisions, he can simply surrender that 5 flats in any of the other building within the same ward or adjoining ward or within the 5 kilometer distance from the location of that flat. That's simple. And that 5 flats, whatever be the available, that will be available for the sale. So in that case, it is need not that the PAP people will be there in your building or your in the society. The other option is a clubbing. So what is clubbing? So suppose one developer or different developer have 2 schemes at different places, different locations. So he can do a clubbing. Means one of the plot may be used only for the sale flats and the original occupant plant, and the other building may be used only for the PAPs. So that option is also available. So by these two options, developer can choose to give the PAP tournaments not in the building for which the redevelopment is taken place, but at a different location. Now, this is the what I told regarding the clubbing, where it can be given. These are the technical things. This was about the all about the brief introduction regarding 3320B. I'm not going into the details of the technical aspects of this regulation, but brief introduction. Then the second part is regarding the new regulation of 3326. Now, what is this 3326? Since many years, I remember since at least 15 years or so, the people which are affected by the funnel zone in around the airport areas. So what is the funnel zone? What we understand in the last session. So there are certain height restrictions. So you cannot go beyond the height what is permissible due to the that regulation for called as a funnel zone. So in that case, the redevelopment of the existing buildings, it is not at all feasible. So the demand from the people who are residing in that affected areas was that there should be something, in some incentive should be granted to the these affected buildings, which shall feasible the redevelopment of this building, because the buildings are existing since long. They needs redevelopment of that because they are dilapidated conditions, or they need a redevelopment, but they cannot do the redevelopment because they cannot use the additional FSI whatever is available in the form of premium or TDR FSI, which is available to other plots. So, by virtue of the location of these plots, they are unable to consume the FSI, potential whatever available. And that's why the redevelopment of these buildings are not feasible. This was the demand since long by these people, but government was not listening to this. Government was saying that redevelopment is not your right. Whatever be the potential available as per regulation 30 table 12 is just a potential. If you want to consume, you can consume. If you don't want to consume, you are not able to consume. It is not your right, basically. So, but consistently, the representatives in the area, local representative, local MLAs and other people, elected persons, they were fighting for this problem. And after long battle, in the last, just before 15 days, government principally accepted that yes, there is a problem and the the buildings which are affected in the funnel zone due to this height restriction should give some incentive so that there should be a feasibility for this redevelopment of this building. So it's a very small regulation, very small regulation. There is no much benefit or incentive offered by the government in that regulation. It's not adequate or it's not a good one. But the only thing is that after fighting long back, government has accepted at least that there should be something given to these people which are affected by the funnel zone. So we will briefly understand what is this regulation. This is the regulation. It is a draft regulation which is published for suggestion objections, and after getting the suggestion objections, that will be finalized by government in due course. So what is this regulation? This regulation is published on 28 March 2025 by the government, which is available on the government website, GR website. So what it facilitates that the development or redevelopment of the building which is affected by the funnel zone. For that purpose, regulation 3326 is newly added in the DCPR. This is the wording of this regulation, that redevelopment of existing society and tenanted building falling in the funnel zone of Mumbai Airport. And the benefit will be given for the constraint to consume the full FSI. Now, this regulation is applicable to whom? That applicable to the existing society building or tenanted building. Only these two category of buildings that this regulation will be applicable, plus buildings having minimum age of 30 years and which is affected in a or located in the funnel zone and is having height restriction not more than 18 meter and which cannot consume a full FSI. These buildings are only eligible under this regulation. Now what they can get? All these eligible buildings, what they can get? So the TDR of unconsumed zonal permissible FSI will be given. Means what? So in suburb, the zonal permissible FSI is 1. So if the building is having height restriction less than 18 meter, you are unable to consume the zonal permissible FSI. So if you are consuming only 0.7 FSI or 0.75 FSI, so whatever be the balance FSI out of 1, that you will be get in the form of TDR. So that TDR you can sell in the market and you can earn, you can have some money that can be used for the redevelopment of the project. And secondly, whatever be the premiums applicable for various areas allowing free of FSI, whatever be the rates mentioned in the regulation. So all these premiums will be given at the rate of 60%. So you will get the 40% concession in the premium. It's also very huge because these premiums are in crores. So you will get the benefit in the form of money which is required to be deposited to the authorities, and by virtue of that, the redevelopment proposal may be getting little bit feasible. So this is the advantages. Now the what I say is that the draft regulation is already published by the government in the Gazette, and which is published for the suggestion objection from the general public. Now what is the next? So this is not the final. This is not going to implement immediately. Now this is only the draft regulation published for your suggestion on objection. So you can give your feedback, your suggestions, your objections, or any other whatever be you like. Then you can give your feedback, your suggestions within 30 days from the date of publication. So the date of publications is the 18th March. So up to 17th of the April, you can submit your suggestions on objections on these regulations. Then what will happen after after you have to submit your suggestions and objections to the Deputy Director Town Planning, whose office is at the Azad Maidan opposite to the BMC head office at CST station at Mahapalika Marg. So you can go and submit your suggestion objection to him. What happens after submitting your suggestion objection? After 30 days, he will call you for your personal hearing. He will give you the personal hearing. You can give some more suggestions during the personal hearing also. Then he will hear you. He will make the notes of all these your suggestions, whatever be submitted in the writing or in the verbal way. Then he will submit his report to the Director Town Planning, whose office is situated in the Pune. Then Director Town Planning, he will go through all the suggestion objection, and he will again submit his report to the government, to the Urban Development Department. Urban Development Department go through all these reports, and then they will formulate the final regulation of 3326, and it will be submitted to the UD Minister for final approval. And after getting the final approval from the Urban Development Minister, the regulation will be again published in the official gazette, and thereafter it will be implemented. So it may take some more time to complete this process, and after completing the process, that will be implemented. But now the very important thing that we have to do is you have to maximum people we should participate in the suggestion objection, because every suggestion objection is taken into account, has to be taken into account by the government. And if there are many and major suggestion objection which is having substance in the matter, that will be taken into account by the government before finalization of this regulation. So this is all about the regulation 3326. Thank you.
The floor can be open for questions.
Need to have your mail ID first of all, so that if there is anything required to be asked, we can ask you.
So mail ID of MCHI, it is already given. You can mail on that ID, that we will be replied.
Okay, sir. In DCPR 2034, there is a provision for enclosed garages. In 1952, in those times there were enclosed garages which were made in societies. Now most of the builders are not able to give place for a garage.
Close the mic.
So in 2034 there is a provision for closed garages. So how will that be given in a new complex?
See, basically, in regulation 1991, there was a provision regarding allowing the enclosed garages. But when there was a modification in regulation in 2012, when the concept of fungible FSI was introduced. At that time, there were many changes which are of major nature were included, wherein whatever be the pre-op FSI features were allowed by counting into FSI. So this was the one of the feature that enclosed garages earlier as per 1991 regulation was available pre-op FSI. But after that regulation amendment in 2012, the garages were allowed, but by counting into FSI. So that is why nowadays you can see that these garages are not been built or not been given to anybody because it involves some FSI, and nobody wants to waste the FSI on the parking. Instead, the parking may be given in the form of podium or surface parking or any other form. That's the reason.
My question is not answered. Earlier garages, which were owned by people, how will they be given the new premises or the after redevelopment? In DCPR 2034, there is a provision for enclosed garages.
Yeah. Enclosed garage can be given.
But the regulation is that you have to keep it 7.5 meters away from the compound wall.
Right.
So due to that, don't
that what you are the having terms and conditions or the agreement, that depends. So it may be allowed or it may be allowed depending upon the terms of condition.
It can be allowed.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just want to intrude out here. One question each, so more people get the opportunity. If you have multiple questions, you can always ask these questions offline as well. I think the gentleman with the brown.
Whatever area which goes to the DP road, you can take now the FSI. Earlier, let's say if it was only TDR, you can have on the basis of the FSI that area. So let's say if there was a 1500 meter plot and let's say 500 meter is going under the road cutting, then earlier I would have got a TDR of, without 3320B, I would have typically got a road cutting TDR only on that as a setback.
No, I understood the question. So basically, it's a little bit complicated technical calculations. So when suppose there is a plot of 2000 square meter and there is a setback of 200 square meter. So your plot area will be 1800 square meter. So suppose you are going for the redevelopment or development in regulation 30 as per the regular development, then whatever be the potential of the plot will be on 1800 square meter. So suppose you are having a potential of suppose 2.5. So 2.5 FSI permissible will be on the plot area of 1800 square meter. But whatever be the land of 200 square meter you are surrendering to BMC, that you will get the compensation in the form of TDR. So TDR in the suburb, it gets 2 times of the land surrender. So 400 square meter will be the TDR will be granted to you. Now, the question is, when you are getting the potential of 2.5 times, you have to use some TDR. So you have to purchase some TDR from the outside. So 400 square meter of the TDR is already you are having. So you can adjust that TDR and balance you can purchase from
so
the
I take another 100
outside.
Additionally outside.
Yeah,
from
you
outside.
can purchase balanced TDR except this 400 square meter. Now I will come to the 3320B. What happens? Now 3320B regulation says that the FSI potential is on the gross plot area. So if the potential is 4, so that will not be on the 1800 square meter, but it will be on the 2000 square meter. So this is the potential, and whatever be the FSI available, that you have to share.
Okay. And on this, the percentage which you said, 63% and 37%, which was there as a part of
50-50, yeah.
And then 50-50 for suburbs. That is of the additional.
Additional, of course, additional. So
additional
again, there are 2 options. Suppose you are having a plot of potential 2.5, and you are availing this FSI as per 3220p, so you are getting 1.5 FSI additional.
Right.
So that will be shared between 6733 or 5050, whatever it may be. But there is other option also. You don't need to get the TDR on premium FSI. If you have a basic FSI of 1 and you are going into the scheme, so you can directly get the FSI of 1 plus 3 equal to 4, and 3 can be shared. So you need not to purchase the premium FSI and TDR also. That option is also available. So there are two options available.
Fine, thanks.
So, so I have a question regarding 3326. So if a plot in funnel affected area is reserved in ROS 1.5, so it has to be surrendered to PMC. So we will get the TDR or something to build up that. But because of the height restrictions, complete FSI will not be consumed. So here what will be the solution?
See, there are many aspects in this question. One is whatever is regarding this regulation says regarding redevelopment. So if a reservation is a different aspect, if you are surrendering the plot to the BMC for reservation, you will get the compensation in the form of TDR or whatever it may be. Now, if you are going to the redevelopment, so in case of reservation of ROS or ROS open space, then you will get the accommodation reservation with the combination of 30-70. So you may be allowed to develop the plot on 30% of the component, and you have to surrender 70% of the land to the BMC. So you can redevelop or develop the plot up 30%, and you will get the FSI permissible whatever on this 30% land. But the question is ki the compensation of this 70% land you can get in the form of TDR or FSI, whatever it may be. But actually that FSI of that 70% land is permissible to utilize on this 30% component. But your problem is that your FSI potential itself is not being utilized. So the question of utilizing that FSI cannot arise. So, but whatever be the 30% land available, that you can go for the development, and whatever be the permissible FSI, zonal FSI, if you are not going to consume that, you will get the balance FSI in the form of TDR, plus whatever be the TDR of the 70% land, that also you will get in the form of DRC.
So this will be applicable in this 3326 or it is not?
See, these two things are the different things. They are not concerned or connected to each other, because two things are not connected. So that's why.
Because the entire plot is reserved for ROS.
That's okay. So if even the entire plot is available, 70% land you have to surrender.
Correct.
So and 30% land you can develop for the redevelopment, or you have an option that you can surrender 100% plot. You will get the compensation of that 100% plot without doing anything, or without.
Because of the funnel zone, it is getting impacted.
So funnel zone is not concerned with this regulation. That is otherwise applicable. The funnel zone only says that if you are redeveloping, means the building of society or tenanted building, you are going to for redevelopment and certain height restrictions, and if you are not going to consume the basic zonal FSI, then the balance potential of the zonal FSI you will get in the form of TDR.
Thank you, sir.
Hello. Sir, this is regarding MADA plot. There are two buildings in that plot. One building is society on the lease, another is tenanted. So both the buildings have more than 30 years. So now both the buildings want to come together as a cluster and to redevelop. Under which regulation it will come?
See, for MADA building means what?
MADA plot.
No, MADA ownership plot, or
One is ownership society, another is tenanted in one plot.
see, there are different regulations, because there is a regulation applicable 33(5) for MADA plots exclusively. So if it is notified under that 33.5, you can be allowed to go for development under 33.5. But if there is a tenanted building, private tenanted building, then the different regulation of 33.7 is applicable. But anyway, you can do the combination of that too.
This is in the city.
Yeah, you can go for the combination.
Okay.
Yeah.
So under 33.5.
See, 33, see, there are certain complications. If it is a leasehold plot,
Yes.
33, that 33.5 of MADA lease, and other one is
Tenanted.
a tenanted plot, means private ownership.
No, it's not private. MADA.
MADA tenanted. So it
MADA.
can be done.
Okay.
There is no issue.
Acha.
It
So
can
the
be
both it can.
Yeah.
It will go as a cluster.
See, no, cluster, for cluster, the minimum area shall be 4,000 square meters.
This is 1,000.
So tenanted, MADA tenanted, I mean, you are eligible under 3324 also.
Okay.
But anyway, you can do the combination of 3324 and 33.5. That is available.
Thank you.
Hello, sir. So I'm a student of Nikmat. So I have a very generic question. Sir, like currently the redevelopment segment is facing a transparency problem. So previously, to treat this transparency problem, government introduced RERA authority. So can we anticipate or accept that there is another authority needed for this redevelopment segment?
I can't say anything about this because RERA is the regulatory authority for resolving the issues which are involved by the purchasers under the development projects.
Yes, sir.
So I think it's adequate because all the issues are addressed by the RERA.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Should we take one last question? That should be it then, if there are any questions. There's just one here. Can you pass the mic, please? Okay.
सर मी तुम्हाला 12B बद्दल विचारू शकतो का?
हा विचार ना.
12B मध्ये मला 4FA मिळतो 2 सोसायटीसाठी आणि 2 जो PAP कंपोनंटसाठी. तर 2 जो मिळणार आहे माझा 9 मीटरचा एरिया आहे तो जो 2 PAP कंपोनंटला भेटणार आहे तो कसा हे होतो 35, 67 जसं सांगितलंय तसं या 12B मध्ये कसं होतं ते जरा
33 आय विल टेल यू 3312 जे रेग्युलेशन आहे हे आणि 3320 हे डिफरंट रेग्युलेशन आहे.
यू कॅन एक्सप्लेन इन इंग्लिश ऑल्सो नो प्रॉब्लेम सर.
No. So I will explain. So basically, what we see about the 3320, that this regulation allowing the additional FSI on sharing basis beyond permissible FSI. Now 3312 is a different regulation. Why different? So that concept itself is a very, very different. So what 3312 says, there are two parts in that 3312, 3312A and 3312B. So if there is a structure on the road which is to be widened, and due to that structure there is a bottleneck, so it's very difficult for BMC to remove that structure and get the road widened and the services or the road link available to the citizens. So that's why one regulation which was formed, that was in that 3312. Another is that there are many town planning schemes earlier sanctioned by the government, and in that town planning scheme, the concept was all the lands you have to given to the BMC, and BMC will give back you the certain plot of the land. So normally 60-40. So if you give the 100% land, then you will get the 60% land back and 40% will be used for the amenities. But in that cases, there were certain structures. So firstly, in that town planning scheme, your plot has to be surrendered. So there may be some structure on that plot, and you will surrender the 60% plot at elsewhere or at the same location. So during that, if there was any structure on that original plot, but it's not included in the final plot which is surrendered to you, then what about that structure? So that's called a contravening structure. So, and that if that contravening structure is coming into the proposed road, so that road is also not able to widen. So in these two situations, that to widen the road, that structures needs to be removed and relocated, or that person who are occupant of that structure, who is a legal occupant, has to be rehabilitated certain somewhere, so that that road will be get widened. So to overcome this situation, that regulation 3312 is introduced. What this 3312 says, if there is a development or redevelopment project in the ward you are taking, then you can voluntarily take out that structure. You say that I will reaccommodate this person in my project, then okay, that structure will be removed from there. That person, that occupants will be reaccommodated free of cost in your project. As against that, you will get the 50% incentive. 50% incentive in the form of FSI. So your potential is 2. Then you can go up to a 4. So you will get the additional 2 FSI. So additional 2 means what? Suppose if you reaccommodate that persons which are there on the roads, and if you use 1 FSI for reaccommodating that persons, you have to give them free of cost. Then you will get 0.5 additional FSI. So the total FSI will be 2 plus 1 plus 0.5. So you will get the 3.5 FSI. No, there is no sharing with the BMC. BMC what get the benefit, that that structure will be removed free of cost without any liability to the BMC, and road will be opened and available to the public. And that's your liability. You will reaccommodate then in your project and you will get the incentive. And that's your option.
Chandrakant sir, we'll just take one question, please. Just last one. You can just turn on the mic, if that's fine.
Hello. Yeah, sir, I just wanted to ask you one thing. It's an old tenanted property, some 70-year-old property. And the landlords, they are not here in India. They are not taking any keen interest whether to redevelop it or to give it to someone else. So what can the tenants do to safeguard their interests?
See, this is basically, it doesn't involve any technical point. It's a legal issue, because ownership rights are with the different person who is not here available. Then how to get that ownership right to get the redevelopment of your building, that's something legal issues, and that you can consult with the lawyer for that.
Thank you so much, Chandrakant sir, for taking your time out and joining us. Can we please have a big round of applause for this wonderful gentleman? Firstly, for sharing your knowledge with us, but most importantly, having the patience and answering each and every question out here, because there wasn't 1 or 2 questions, there was a bunch of questions. And thank you so much for your time as well. May I request you to kindly take center stage, and we would just like to felicitate you as a token of our appreciation. And requesting Mr. Sandeep Isore and architect Milan Changani to kindly join us on stage to please do the honors. And to all the wonderful participants sitting out here, if this session was helpful to you all, please can we have a big round of applause for Mr. Chandrakant